means it's going to be the B-sides of all the crazy songs that you don't want to hear, but you actually know, like "Throw the Dog a Bone" kind of a deal. It's actually the backside of oh God, I just had it and I just threw it out my head. Oh man, "Seasons in the Sun." Yeah, there we go. Hey, I almost got it. I almost lost it. Okay, today we got our friend that actually named RCG for the Renegade Girls, and he's like sort of snippy, and he has some really cool little phrases, and he like condenses 15 words down to 2 syllables. I'd like to present to you guys Little Ben from Little Ben Productions. Benny, are you there?
I'm here. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. Hey, what about that intro? I was trying to like wing it a little bit. I wanted to give you the song and dance a little bit, you know. Finally, once in a while, I get to say something. So, hello.
That's cool. I'm happy to be on the show. It's nice to. I think the last time I interviewed on a Renegade Radio show was actually at Hempfest a couple of
It
years ago.
it was with Steel. Yeah. Actually, we have that. You know, we've only played that show like twice. Maybe I'll put that up into the reel. See if I can get Nicole to play that after we get done talking to you. And it was promoting your band. The name was.
My old band, Darklight. I need to take a break from being a musician. I'm that dude that's never not been in a band like my entire life. I've always been in bands. So those guys are great, and I still love the band, and they were very supportive of my decision. But I decided to hang up my bass guitar for a while and just focus on being a promoter, comedian, and a comic geek.
Well, we like Comic Con, so you know that's aces with us. So, what else is new in your zoo? Tell us.
Just lots of comedy. I've really been enjoying getting balls deep in the comedy scene and doing a lot of showcases and open mics and hosting tons of shows and just I've been getting a lot of credit around the community as a legitimate comedian, which is a hugely flattering thing because I'm a huge fan of comedy. You know, I grew up watching comedians, so the fact that anybody considers me a comedian is just awesome.
Nice. Do they ever tell you, "Laugh it up, funny boy"?
You hear it all. If you're in a conversation and somebody drops, "Hey, this guy's a comedian," the first thing they say is, "Oh, tell me something funny." And I'm like, if I'm talking to somebody and they're like, "Hey, I cook for a living," I don't look at them and say, "Hey, cook me a steak."
Yeah, laugh it up, funny boy. Hey, here's one. What if you're up on stage and you got like your patter and you're doing a really good job and you're just kicking it and you're on point, and then you get somebody heckles you? What do you do? Have you had that happen yet?
Oh, every comic has that happen, and every comic deals with it in a different way. Me particular, I try to just heckle back because you get bigger laughs out of the audience if you kind of, if somebody's trying to heckle you, and it depends on the heckling too. There's many levels of heckling. There's just funny heckling that, there's just very harmless heckling, and then there's the actual rude fucking douchebag hecklers, which you get those sometimes. So you kind of bounce back based on the level of heckling that you're receiving. And, if it's good-natured, funny heckling, most comics just go with it and they, toss it right back and the whole crowd has a good laugh because the whole point is laughing. It really is. So if people are laughing, they're enjoying the show. So heckling's not like the end of the world, but if you have like a really rude or just obnoxious or douchey person in the audience, then those are actually my favorite moments because then I can let my, people assume you're a comedian, you don't have a backbone. It's like, oh no, comics, they're on stage doing this in front of people all the time. We definitely can tell people off if we need to. So those people just give us the opportunity to talk shit. Say, hey, go fuck yourself, get out of here because you're a piece of shit. And we like that.
Have you ever like gone up on stage and you got your patter and then you miscued one of your little driving points, to the punchline to a joke or to a little story, and then your brain goes completely blank and you're like, ugh, and you can't think of anything and you're just standing there and the lights and people are looking at you and you hear the clinking of the glasses and people muttering little words and such. What do you do? I mean, how do you get over that?
Well, for me in particular, I don't really have those moments because I'm a big enough asshole that when I'm on stage, I just own it and I don't care. And I'm that person that says like super fucked up shit. I always have the audience's attention because I say really crazy things. And seriously, if nobody's listening to me, they're not going to listen to anybody on the stage because my act's pretty extreme and it's pretty entertaining. It's very animated. It's very energetic. It's very live. So if you're not looking at me, you're not going to look at anybody on the stage. So those people I just feel sorry for, because their lives suck.
Huh. So where do you get your inspiration? I mean, how do you write your show and how long is your show for?
That's a really good question. I have been aware of the fact that a lot of comics write about, things that annoy them or things that piss them off or things that are, wrong with their lives, and they turn into comedy, which is great. I think that's fantastic. I took a different approach, though, and thought, I'm going to write about the things that I enjoy, the things that I'm passionate about. So I have comedy about my dog. I have comedy about porn. I have comedy about YouTube. I have comedy about comic book stuff. I basically took the elements of my life that I really enjoy and that I love and that I get really passionate about, and then wrote comedy about it, which I think lends itself to just a much more fun performance from me because I'm really into the things I'm talking about, and just having a great time with it. I think the crowd has a great time with it as well.
Oh, nice. You changed the names to protect the innocent?
I never change the name to protect anybody.
All right.
And there's no such thing as innocent. Come on.
Honestly, I didn't eat that.
That's our victim society talking to you. There's no innocence in this world.
Honestly, I didn't eat that cookie as I got the chocolate all over my mouth. I don't know where that came from. Oh, goodness. So where are you playing next? And tell us how we can get a hold of you and, and maybe... I'd sure like to have you come in like in the afternoon. We do a 420 segment, and it goes from 420 to 5 o'clock, and it's with the girls, the 420 Girls Network that we have. And basically, they talk about the upcoming events, problems with society, laws changing, talk about product, endorse people, etc., kind of a show. But it would be great either before or after, maybe have a little 5-10 minute segment of you doing some stand-up and just, helping the drive time going home kind of a deal.
Yeah, that'd be cool. The thing that I really want to pimp is actually, ironically, not comedy-oriented, but I'm doing an event this Saturday at Tony B's Garage in downtown Everett, which is a huge venue. It's a really awesome place that I used to do when this venue was called Jimmy Z's back in the day. I did this event as an annual event, and it was one of my favorite things to host. And so I brought it back. We got a bunch of cool sponsors, including the Herald, a bunch of really amazing people got on board to sponsor this thing. It's called SLAM, which is Support Local Art and Music. And the idea is that we have an all-day, all-evening event with both musicians, bands, and also local artists that actually bring in their paintings, sculptures, things of that nature. So it's an art and music showcase, like all day, all evening. It's all ages, family-friendly. Well, at least till 11. That's when we kick all the little bastards out and we get the metal bands on there. But
yeah, nice.
For most of the day, it's family-friendly and fun, and it's just a really amazing event. I'm really excited about it. They've put a lot of work in it behind the scenes, and I think it's gonna, and there's actually ads for it in the Everett Herald that you can check out. And just really excited for the event this Saturday. So it starts at 2 p.m., goes right up until about midnight, and it will be Saturday, April 16th at Tony B's Garage in downtown Everett.
Sweet. So do you have any of the lineup of the bands, any of the names yet?
I do. There's a lot of them. I'll just throw out, I love all the bands performing, but I'll just throw out a couple of the notable ones that I'm really excited about. The biggest of which is my very good friends, and they're one of my favorite local metal bands. They're called 3 Chord Killer, and these guys are absolutely just amazing. Like, I've heard It's Me, and you know how many bands I've heard and worked with over the years. And so for me to say these guys are my favorite is saying a lot because these guys are absolutely amazing. And also I'm super excited because a band, not an original band, but a tribute band for Rage Against the Machine, which is one of my favorite bands. They're called Bullet in Your Head. They're also performing, and they're performing right before 3 Chord Killer. And at the footnote, these guys actually do have an original band of their own called Pilot the Bombardier, which is a great band. But, I'm excited for Bullet in Your Head because I haven't heard those guys play as Bullet in Your Head for a couple of years. So there's a couple of, big comebacks. 3 Chord Killer hasn't played a show in, a year and a half. So I'm really excited specifically. I'm excited for the whole show, but especially for those two bands. I'm just gearing up. It's going to be an awesome night.
I actually did a dyno show down at the, what was that called? Goldie's down on Airport Way in downtown Seattle for motorcycles and for the bicycles that we build and such with the Renegades. And we had Bullet in the Head play on a flatbed truck in the parking lot. And there must have been 600-700 people that just filled the parking lot up and the street and around the street. It was huge. We were not even prepared for that. We thought maybe, there'll be a couple hundred people and that's about it. But they filled the parking lots and the building. And they just came out of studio at that point, too, with a new album that they came out with. So, yeah, we like Bullet in the Head. They're pretty good.
Yeah, those guys are amazing.
Yeah. So, not bad with the tributes. Hey, being a record promoter, or not record, but a band promoter, what's up with all these tribute bands lately? I mean, these guys you can't take anything away from these guys playing their music. and playing, their instruments and singing and pretty much mocking the actual bands that they're tributing. But why don't they have their own bands and do their own music?
Well, the answer to that question is because there are numerous demographics as far as a live music audience. You have, people who are definitely into original music and love original bands, and that's a great thing. The original scene always needs to flourish and always needs to have support, and there's people who love that. But, being real, you also have people that don't know a lot of the original bands. If they go out, they want to, hear bands that they know. And the strength of tribute bands is where, like, say as an example, with Bullet in Your Head, that you can't go see a Rage Against the Machine concert. You just can't anymore. They're not out touring anymore.
Right.
But if you have a really great tribute band like Bullet in Your Head, you can go watch those guys play. It's a lot cheaper. You still get close to the same experience if the band is good and does their craft well. And so there's definitely, a plus on both ends of that coin.
All right. Well, yeah, it is plus coin. It is. A lot of times we hear the kids, they talk about this, that, and everything else, but I don't really consider them being musicians because they got a sound box and they do sound bites and, a drum machine, and they're a one-person band with an orchestra of 10 out of a box. And it sort of just takes the beautiness of the guitar players and the drummers and, the singer up on stage, and it just takes the whole live thing away from you. It's bad.
It does. I mean, while I will agree that modern technology has watered down the musical spectrum a little bit, I could also say it's accented it in some ways. I mean, I try to look at the positives of everything, and to me, art is art. So I'm not trying to take away from these kids that are, doing shit on their laptops or whatever. It's a little like, I think those kids should do what they do, and I'm all about it. I just think they should, do it more as studio musicians and not live musicians, because when you see a kid get up on stage in front of 300 people with a laptop, it's just boring.
Yeah.
There's not really much to watch there. Live music is about the energy. It's about the excitement. It's about watching people play their instruments and, sharing that excitement with the band and with the crowd. That's what live music is about to me anyways.
Exactly. And then, of course, we got people like Steve Miller going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and, pretty much flipping everybody off and telling them, what the hell, you guys are all boobs, kind of a deal, I mean, if you
it's Steve Miller. I mean, you wouldn't expect the guy's just awesome. Let's be real.
Yeah.
One of my favorite comedians, when you're talking about my influence, is George Carlin, and he will straight up flip off the entire world and say you're all a bunch of idiots, but the guy's a genius.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes an extreme personality to get people out of their bubble and out of their box and thinking in a different manner. My life has never been traditional. My life has never been anything close to a normal life, but I live it, and I definitely have my views about some of the people around me, but I keep them to myself for the most part. I just try to entertain. My whole life's always, you've known me for years, this. My whole life's always been about entertaining, and I just try to be good at what I do. And so when they throw me in the dirt, they can at least say, "Hey, this dude was good at what he did," and he stuck to it.
Oh yeah. You stood by your convictions, my friend. Stood by the convictions, and I still think that George Carlin, with his views of having, like the mid-United States, they're so vast. Like little towns you could buy for $1,000, and it's a ghost town, and just have those turn into like where the homeless go and where the people in jail go, and it's basically that's it. Don't give them a car or transportation, and they have to fend for themselves. Maybe an airplane will go over and throw some supplies to them and stuff, but hey, fend for yourself and convert your town into a city. I think it might, it could possibly work. I mean, people can't escape. I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere for thousands of miles, and where are you gonna go? The elements will get you before anything else.
A little known fact is that one of my favorite movies of all time is 300. And it's one of my favorite movies because there was a couple of philosophies inside that movie that you rarely see, but I actually think hold a lot of weight. One of which was, survival of the fittest. The strongest survive. And, to modern society, it seems like a shitty thing. Oh, we throw the weak into the pit and blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, this world is so overpopulated as it is right now. I mean, we have a population of the whiniest fucking people I've ever seen in my life. I mean, they're victims every day. And I'm an actual victim. Like, I don't know. I'm 40 years old, and I don't know any of my biological family, never have. I mean, I've had every bad fucking thing that can happen to a person happen to me, but I've never been in jail. I'm not hooked on any drugs I can't spell. I still made something out of my life, and so for me personally, just to see some people whine about some of the things they whine about, it's just like, it's like you're just looking for something to whine about. You're looking for something to be offended by. I mean, that's the society we live in. And I think the world could use a little thinning out. I
Yeah,
really do.
yeah.
That's a very extreme, stance to have, but that's one of the largest problems with our world in general. It's just too vastly overpopulated.
Yeah.
And everybody is entitled. Everybody is.
Yep. And if you sneeze, crooked, oh, you're racist. You're a racist. I was called a racist not long ago, and I go, "Are you smoking crack or something?" Because my fiance, she's Spanish, and she comes from a mixed family, and it's like, really? I mean, how does that make me a racist? You know, just because I don't put.
I don't even. This will blow your mind. I don't even mind racists if they stand by their fucking convictions. Then I'll at least respect that they're standing by what they believe in. I just don't like half-assed, shady people. People that, they have one stance one day and they have another stance another day, or somebody calls them out on their stance. They're like, I'm a half-black guy. And it's not that I enjoy the company of racists, but I can respect that if they're racist and they're just hardcore about being racist, okay, more power to you. That's what you believe. That's your thing. Great, I'll just stay the fuck away from you. But I respect it because they're hardcore about it.
Right.
My problem in general is more with people, because that's what happens is we have all of these people that don't really have a mind of their own. They don't think for themselves. They don't have opinions. They're basically fed everything that they're told to believe, or, what their convictions are. It's a bandwagon mentality. It's really hard to find people who think for themselves and who think outside the box, And this is, of course, not me defending racism, but I'm simply making the point that, a racist or a sexist or any person of that nature, if they're hardcore about it and they stand by it, I may not like it, but goddamn, I'll respect it, because you know what? They're not fake people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know where they stand.
You know what I hate?
That makes sense.
I hate that they can call me all the cracker names they want, et cetera, and I just, it's just part of their mentality. But the minute I say a word or a phrase or a catchphrase, that just sets them off, and it's like I'm the baddest person in the world. But I believe it should be, you give what you get. So if you're giving the shit out, then you should get some of it back, and take your lumps. And it's not all about
people
you.
People are trained from childhood to shut the fuck up. They can't say certain things to their parents. They can't say certain things to their teacher. When they get into adulthood, they can't say certain things to their boss. There's always a person over them telling them to mind their P's and Q's, watch what they say, don't say the wrong thing. In our day of social network, if you say anything, you're going to piss somebody off. I mean, it's just this, it's the overall just completely silencing people and making people afraid to speak their voice, and, everybody wants to please everybody. They want to be liked by everybody. They don't understand that you're going to have, shit. I was one of the most successful, and you know this because you've known me for years, music promoters in this town for a number of years, and I had a shit ton of haters. I had a shit ton of people that talk shit about me. Most of these people didn't even know me. I didn't care because that's part of the game. This is what happens, And I just tried to do what I did and do it well, and if some people didn't like what I was doing, well,
yeah,
I'm still doing it.
Well, you know me,
Every time somebody asks me how I'm doing, this is a true story. Every time somebody asks me how I'm doing, my response is, well, nobody's killed me yet.
Yeah, exactly. Being a renegade and, with no filter on my mouth and telling it like it is, or at least the way I think it should be, man, I sure ruffled a lot of girls' feathers. Ruffled is not even a word, like plucked and cooked them. So, yeah, I do know that scenario. But, hey, we're all older now. We all, got set in our ways. We're all, accomplishing things. So, hats off to everybody. The true people are the ones that just, keep trudging forward, even though they say don't do it, you can't do it, or stop, you can't, et cetera. And those are the ones that are, when the shit goes down, if it does go down with the zombie apocalypse or anything that really goes down, we're the ones that are going to be sitting there, saying, yeah, we know how to do that. We can do that. And yes, come on with us if you want to come along, kind of a deal,
Well, I do very much believe there are ordinary people and there are extraordinary people. And it's pretty obvious and easy to tell the difference, who's ordinary and who's extraordinary, when you look at the people around you and what they're doing with their lives and how they... And I'm not saying you have to be a huge promoter or a radio personality or any of that to be an extraordinary person. There are people that work regular jobs, but they go out of their way to help out with tons of benefits, or, they're always helping their community, or they're just, doing amazing art in the background or whatever. There's a lot. There's some people that just, they work their 9 to 5s, they watch TV, they go to bed, and those are what I deem as ordinary people. They don't have huge aspirations in their life other than to live and survive. But then there are extraordinary people who do amazing things and create change around them, and I try to surround myself with extraordinary people whenever I'm able to, because it enriches my life.
Right. Assets or liabilities? I guess that's how you can just sum that up in 2 words. Assets or liabilities. So
Well, I wouldn't even say liabilities. I know some ordinary people that I like well enough, and they're not really liabilities. I mean, they're still nice enough people. It's just there's nothing really extraordinary about them, you know. But the
yeah.
extraordinary people are the ones that keep me motivated.
Yeah, I always get those people that, they have ambition, but yet they're lazy. So I push them, and I become the ass because I'm pushing them. Or they think that I talk down to them because I'm telling them, you really should try this. It's not going to kill you, just try it. And they think, well, you think you're better than us. No, I know that you have it in you. Just try it. And, just sort of push people along and stuff. So maybe my way I do it's not the best, or my how you'd say it, my lead up and follow through. But it is what it is. We're creatures of habit. So that's all I got to say on that subject. So it's crazy out, Ben. It's crazy out. So what else is going on? I know that you guys are going to be doing the actually talking about the community stuff. We have the AMPLiveNW.com set up, and it's all about bands, comedy, artists, and just all cool things. And it's back to the community. So we get people involved with this, and they come on, they make their profile. I basically noticed that there's a lot of bands with not websites, and they use Facebook like it's their big promotion website. Do all, fix all. And in actuality, it's that people on Facebook have that mentality of, why buy the cow when you're getting the milk for free? So, I've been sort of working with this with a team of people, and we came up with this concept of a website where you can have a mini website, you can promote, you can sell your gear, you can sell your tickets to your events, etc., and you can come on the radio and talk about it, or you can get printed up in one of our magazines. And basically, it's given back to the community because there's some really good talent out there, but they don't know how to promote themselves. They're not promoters or even publicists.
That is true, and the problem with a lot of bands setting up websites is actually a problem I ran into personally a few years ago, is that with a website, because with any website you need traffic, which we all know, and most websites actually get their traffic through advertising.
Yep.
I mean, they let advertisers pay in, and they get better spots, and they get more traffic. So in the case of a band, you actually have to bring the traffic through your website. Now, most of the public traffic you're going to get is via the most used site on the internet, which is Facebook. So and Facebook got wise to that, which is why they actually started making bands and businesses pay to promote through their like pages.
Yep.
Because of the reach that you have through that. And to be honest, I don't think that's a terrible thing. I mean, you get your personal pages for free, and I actually do a lot of promotion through my personal page. I have a couple of like pages. I haven't paid for any promotions, but if I had the money, I wouldn't mind doing it, because if it gets seen by that much more people, it gets seen by that much more people for, $5 or $6 or whatever you're paying for it. But if you set up a separate website, the thing you start to find out real quick, unless you tie in links with a ton of other websites and advertisers, is you're not getting the traffic. You're really going through all that work for almost nothing, because, you're sitting there with this beautiful website that has your graphics and your songs and everything on it, and nobody's fucking going to it.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell? So you try to promote it through Facebook, and people are like, well, I can just follow your shows through Facebook. I don't know why I need to go to your website, because that's just lazy mentality of people nowadays, And so I think having an alternate method where, like you said, bands aren't really promoters, or at least most musicians aren't. They're just musicians. It's kind of part of the game where you got to learn to be a promoter a little bit if you want to be a live musician. But I agree, that's not, nobody picks up a guitar to be a promoter.
Right. Right.
I think it's a great idea to have an outlet for them, or a third party that could build websites, or at the very least get traffic to a website for bands. That would be a valuable thing.
Well,
because if you had a third party that offered that service to say, hey, if you have a website, if your band sets up a website, we will help you get traffic.
I sort of did everything ass backwards. I mean, seriously. Even back in the days when I first got started, and we're talking back in, late 80s, early 90s, I started to build a network with the girls, and with the bikes I build, and with my network, and our network. And I never had a website, and our website never actually got built till like 2004 or 5 actually, or around that time. So from the whole 90s, I was doing promotions and doing these events that we do. I had the girls, we had this and that. Hell, I had a Facebook account when MySpace was the big thing, but I had a Facebook account, and it was on there, and it was like, Mark Zuckerberg kept wanting to be my friend, and I didn't even know who he was, and I kept saying no to him. And I didn't know who he was. And I still have that account. And, of course, since then, I've learned to grow that account and grow and grow and grow. So we have over 80 accounts just for the Renegade Girls stuff. And then we have our sub accounts for the radio and the magazine and our promotions and this and that. And it's huge. But we take all those people and we're actually generating the traffic back to our website. So at last count, we're over 7 million followers. So that's how our websites and traffic seem to be following. And, like right now, as we're speaking on the radio, there's 47,000 people listening in from Canada all the way down to Ukraine. So it's like, yeah. So I think it's out there. We're doing it, Ben. We're doing it. And this is just one way that the bands, if they come on board and bring their music, they can actually listen in. And they can be actually part of the show and actually do, what we're doing. So it's sort of.
I hope so. I think that any resource. Sorry, I'm grabbing a pan. I'm also nannying. I got to start lunch for these girls. I think that any resource should be considered a valuable resource. I tell a lot of bands and promoters all the time, like, it's like you look at it like a carpenter. A carpenter has a tool belt that has 10 to 15 tools on the belt. And for him to be effective, he has to utilize all the tools in his belt. Well, same thing if you're in the entertainment industry, like Facebook is one tool, and it's a great tool. But if you want to really be successful, then you have to be able to utilize all these different tools available to you, street promo, marketing, using other social sites like Instagram and Twitter, which I fucking suck at. And I really need to. I'm old-fashioned, man. It's hard enough for me to keep up with Facebook.
It is.
It's like...
It is.
I gotta, I've had so many people like, oh, no, you really need to work your Instagram. You need to do Twitter. Everything's happening on Twitter. And I'm like, I know, but it's just so much more to have to deal with. And plus, I'm a blogger. Like, me, I'm a writer.
Right.
Like, I have a hard time containing my thoughts in, like, 2 little sentences, like pretty much what everybody has to do on Twitter. I think Twitter just encourages people to be stupid.
I think you're more of a 4 scores and 7 years ago today, 5,000 words later. Did you guys want pizza or Coke?
Well, other times I can say things in few words. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's just I think my overall problem with Twitter is you can't really say very much there, And normally, if I have something to say, I have a lot to say, and I want to say it in a manner that it's well understood and that people know where I'm coming from, because I think communication is such a fucking huge, important thing, especially nowadays.
Oh, it is.
It's something that kind of gets washed away by sites like Twitter, where it's like, hey, we're going to contain our thoughts in so many characters. It's literally encouraging people to be stupid and to not speak their minds. At least in my opinion, that might be harsh, but in my opinion, that's how I look at it.
It is. It's true. And I used to be the same way. Spend 2-3 hours on Facebook, clicking each one of the sites, and going to Facebook, and then going to Twitter, and then going to Pinterest, and just basically going to all the 37 social sites that we're at. And then I got with this computer programmer, and we decided to, see if we can collaborate with a project, and we did. And we came up with this app that will shoot every friggin' social site that you have. It will shoot them. You go to one blog one time and you hit the button and it goes to your whole friggin' network, and you can have it go every 10 minutes, every 3 seconds, every 24 hours, whatever you want, and it hits them at random times, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's just like it's Ben, it has taken what used to take hours, it takes 5 minutes, and the quality that it does and the response is huge. So it's not like spamming. I guess it might be spamming. Like, I got kicked off Facebook a couple times because they think I was a spammer. But, hey, it's all part of the game, I guess.
It is, and that's, it's a really cool thing, and that's been one of my issues, is that I don't want to be that person that loses my audience based on just overwhelming them with promos and advertisements.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fans and followers, as you know, and, they like more just when I'm either speaking my mind about stupid life shit, or I'm making jokes, or, doing interesting things. I mean, that's what really appeals to them, because the fact of the matter is, even with my following, I posted a fucking glass of grape soda that I was drinking the other day and got like 75 likes on that post. I mean, ridiculously, But if I post a link for a cool event, I might get 2 likes. People just gloss over that shit. It's just a weird thing.
It is. It is.
So I have to, but the fact of the matter is if I'm doing the other posts that people like and follow, I know they see the promos. Even if they don't respond to them, they see them, Yeah. And like the event this week has ridiculous numbers. I mean, it's like, last I checked it, well over 100 attending, close to 200 maybe attending, got ridiculous numbers attached to it. So people are seeing it, They don't always respond to it, but, you also have to kind of keep that. I tell people all the time, a lot of times the reason I post this dumb, ridiculous shit is just to make sure I'm keeping my followers tuned into my page.
Exactly.
It's
So,
dumb to say.
so what's the name of this event coming up this weekend?
Slam.
And it
Support
stands.
local art and music.
And it's going to be where?
At Tony V's Garage in downtown Everett, which is 1716 Hewitt Avenue.
And it's going to be starting when?
2 p.m., and it's Saturday, April 16th.
What's the ticket price?
$10, and out of every $10 that we make on the door, 50% of that is getting donated to Seattle Children's Hospital for Strong Against Cancer.
Nice. So is there going to be links, or actually on the AMP Live website right now, we actually have an event going for you. So we'll post that up for you, and we'll share it to all the people in the neighborhood and see if we can get that out there for you. And let's hope for.
And to answer one of your earlier questions that I didn't answer, I do have 2 like pages that people can check out, which is the first one is LittleBen Productions. You just search LittleBen Productions, and that's my page for my live music events that I promo. It's been a little dusty the last couple of years, but I'm dusting it off, and I'm doing a big event this weekend, so kind of getting that revitalized. And then my comedy page, which is a little more active, which is LittleBen the Funny Man, and you can look that up, and that will tie in. Those are both like pages. And then if anybody wants to check me out on Facebook, my personal page, they can add me at it's just Ben Scott, because Facebook real names me like they did a lot of people. But if you just type in facebook.com/LittleBen Productions, that'll go to my personal page.
Perfect. That's what we like to hear. And let's see if we can work something out that you come on live or recorded, however you want to do it, a couple times a week as our, afternoon funny. Get a little something to give us a little chuckle about, Uncensored comedy is the way to go.
Doing that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give the old cliche now. Here it comes. Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Say something funny for us.
Well, I'll share with you one of the newest things I wrote recently. I pay a lot of attention, speaking of Facebook, to things that are prevalent on social media, the issues, things that people are discussing. And one of the hot ticket issues right now is women's right to publicly breastfeed, which I personally am all about. I think it's a totally legit thing to discuss. But it's funny to me. I think it's hilarious that women try to convince us that breasts are not sexual.
Oh, yeah, they are.
And so in the comedy bit, I actually say, yes, I get it. Breasts are natural, and children love to suck on breasts. But you know who else loves to suck on breasts? Grown-ups.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah.
And women love it, too. You ever hear a woman when her breasts are getting sucked on, she's like, yeah, bite that nipple, yeah. So, right there, I'm going to completely discount the whole breasts aren't sexual thing. It's complete bullshit. Own your shit. I'm all about women's right to be free. I'm all about, breastfeed in public. Go for it. And I actually tell them, it's another piece of my comedy bit, I'm like, the men are not your problem in this regard. Men don't give a fuck. If we're walking through the mall and we see a woman with her tit out, it's like winning the golden ticket from Willy Wonka. We don't care if there's a baby attached to it or not. We're fucking happy. We will walk slow and smile and wave at you.
Mm-hmm.
That's good shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the women that get pissed off about that.
Oh, yeah.
It's the other women, the more prudish women, that you shouldn't be doing this, blah, 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 blah. It's funny to me, and yes, I wrote a whole comedy bit about that.
Oh, sweet. I actually posted a picture at the disclaimer saying, if you're breastfeeding in public, please cover yourself. And so there's a lady with a cover over her head with her boob hanging out feeding the kid.
Yeah, which is awesome. And again, it ties into my comedy philosophy because, like I said, I like to write jokes about things that I enjoy, and I love boobs, man. Who doesn't love boobs, So it's a great thing to write about. It's a really fun subject, and, seeing all the stuff online for me is just great, because it gives me a lot of material.
Absolutely. There's 2 words.
Well, I don't write about things that a lot of the comedians write. Like, a lot of comedians, of course, are going to write about, like, Donald Trump and political things happening. And granted, that's a big hot ticket issue as well, but it's a little obvious to me. I'd rather write about things like public breastfeeding or things that you're seeing that you don't really hear comedy about,
Exactly.
It's a lot more fun.
Exactly. And there's, like, 2 words in the comedy words that make you laugh. One of them is fart, and the other one is booby. Even saying it makes you laugh. Yeah. Oh, boobies!
I'm proud of the fact that I have an entire set. I have an hour comedy show that I do, and not once do I reference farts at all. I'm very proud of that fact.
Wow.
Which Kevin Smith would probably hate that. I'm pretty excited because one of my hugest just inspirations. And the guy that I'm a complete fanboy of is Kevin Smith. I've been following his career for years. I love Kevin Smith. I love everything he does. Follow his podcast on YouTube and the whole nine. And my birthday is coming up in June, and I'm going to see him and Jason Mewes perform on June 17th, which I'm really excited about.
Nice.
And but the funny thing is, were I to have a conversation with Kevin Smith and tell him I'm a comedy host and stand-up comedian, I don't think I'd drop it. I can do an hour set without mentioning farts because he'd probably just disown me.
He has stopped eating dairy, cheese, carbs, candy. He's getting a little exercise. His daughter's out walking him. He got himself a dog, and he's dropped like 80 pounds. And he does not even look like Kevin Smith. I mean,
well, because I know Kevin Smith so well, I can tell you exactly how that happened. Because when he filmed Zack and Miri Make a Porno, Seth Rogen dropped a bunch of weight for that role. And Kevin Smith actually asked him, like, dude, how'd you do it? How'd you fucking drop all this weight? And Seth Rogen told him, I just cut out sugar. Like, it wasn't any big, regimen or anything. He just basically cut sugar out of his diet and, did a little extra walking and stuff. He didn't do any huge working out or anything, but dropped a whole bunch of weight. So Kevin Smith did the same thing. And he also, because of his wife suggested this, was drinking a lot of beet juice, which he said gave him basically a ridiculous, consistent hard-on.
Really?
So apparently beet juice is good for the male libido.
Ah, I didn't know that. Now you got me. My ears perked right up when I heard that. I was actually in St. Croix Island, and we're looking at some property down there. Just because we want to do something different, and with our network that we built and stuff, we can go anywhere in the world as long as we got satellite or internet, and we can actually, do our job. And so I was down there, and I slipped or something, and I thought I pulled a groin muscle, and God, I just had the worst side aches and stuff. And so instead, they don't really have. I mean, they have little clinics and stuff, but they're more like witch doctors. So I went in there, and she gave me this oil, and it was yohimbe oil, and she said one of the side effects would give your male libido a little jump and stuff. But I was taking that, and a month later, I just had like a meltdown in my truck. I mean, I just literally saw stars and stripes and just uncontrollable, not even know what's going on. So I went to the doctor, and she says, your blood pressure is like almost to the roof, like to the point you're going to have a heart attack or stroke out and die. And so they gave me some relaxers and stuff. And of course, I don't mention that I'm taking this oil. And then the following, for 2 days later, went back to the doctor for a follow-up, and my blood pressure was extremely high still, and they couldn't figure out why. And then finally the girlfriend goes, yeah, he's been taking this oil stuff. And they looked at it, and they go, what is it? Yohimbe root. How much do you take of that? 3, 4, 5 drops an hour. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So that's actually another good one, too.
Well, I'm trying to. I mean, I'm definitely in good shape for a guy my age. And I'm that guy that most people look at me and think I'm like in my late 20s or early 30s. They don't believe I'm 40 because I look young and I'm in good shape. But it's still becoming painfully apparent to me that I'm getting older because you feel the pains in places you never felt the pains before. You get those little chest pains that you worry about, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All these weird little things start happening, and it's like, oh, fuck. I will die in the next anywhere between 10 and 50 years. My clock's ticking,
Yeah.
And so I'm actually starting to become a little more, I'm not great at it right now, but a little more self-conscious about what I'm eating and putting into my body and, just keep a few more extra years in there of hopefully being healthy and looking good and all that stuff before I start to deteriorate and then look like Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, I got pretty big there for a while, but I've dropped 33 pounds, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I'm going to go for about another 30 pounds. So, just cut out all the crap food and stuff, The girlfriend's only like 5 feet, but she has like 15 feet of freaking muscle in her foot up my ass. So it's like, you're not going to eat that shit. It's like, you got to keep up or, you're going to be left behind. What? All right, well, that's our show, Ben. It was great talking to you. And, why don't you just give one more time for the shout out for your show this weekend and, how we can get a hold of you. And then we'll just call it good. And then hopefully we'll hear you on the drive time for some comedy.
All right. Once again, the show is called SLAM, which stands for Support Local Art and Music. It's an all-day and all-evening event. Starts at 2 p.m. and goes right until midnight. It will be in downtown Everett at Tony V's Garage, which is 1716 Hewitt Avenue. It's all ages and family friendly. 10 and under get in free. There's a $10 cover charge. 50% of all proceeds going to Seattle Children's Hospital for Strong Against Cancer. And at 11 p.m. the all ages is done, but it's all ages until 11 p.m. and it will just be a great show and a great time. And hopefully those listeners listening can come out and check it out. And then you can find me on Facebook at LittleBen Productions or LittleBen the Funny Man, or my personal page, which is Ben Scott, or you can type in facebook.com/LittleBen Productions to find that page.
Perfect. And we're going to put some links up on the website also for you, so those 2 people that watch our website can actually see something. I had to throw that in there. Come on now, I was heckling. Come on now. All right, well, we're gonna do a little back in black for a little AC/DC. And here we go live. This is Renegade Radio coming to you Thursday, Throwback Thursday.